I am from South Florida. My parents are Jamaican and Cuban. My father's Jamaican and my mother is Cuban, so I'm both. I had a really exciting, interesting upbringing. Of course, there were a lot of things that helped me become the person that I am today. But I could say that a lot of the things that weren't so great really helped to mold the better half of me to be an entrepreneur, to want to be independent, to want to be able to be self-sufficient because of my upbringing. My parents are doing better now, but as I was coming up, there were times when I was homeless. There were times when I didn't really have a lot, going to school. I went to Blanche Ely High School. So that is a very fashion-based school. So when you had money, you felt amazing because you could be stylish and you could be best dressed, which were times that I had. But then there's times when I didn't have anything. So it was very difficult being in a fashion-forward school, knowing that you didn't really have a place to stay and you didn't really have the best clothes anymore. So I had the best of both worlds as a kid. A lot of my passions come from the habits that I built with changing my mindset, if that makes sense. So I'm really into meditation. I enjoy meditation. I enjoy journaling, gratitude journaling. And I also enjoy, once you have that type of connection with yourself, it's good to expand that onto others. And that's where compassion comes in. So I feel like being compassionate after I feel at peace and being able to listen to other people's needs and then find a way to bridge that gap is one of my passions. And that's kind of where MMM started, is listening to people's needs and figuring out how I can be of service, whether it's helping their brand expand, be more visible, whatever their individual needs are. So I think those are some of my passions, taking care of myself and then taking care of others. Okay, so I definitely am on a weight loss journey. I've been on it before because I feel it's definitely a mental, emotional journey. And I lost very recently over 80 pounds, which is awesome. I feel like an entirely new person. It's still, as you're losing weight and training, you are constantly shifting. So you're getting to know yourself with every pound that you lose because you're a new person. I like feeling more energetic, more alive. Shooting content like this definitely helps to feel really great. So losing the weight has been a little less than a year. And I can say that I feel better mentally. And I know I put on the weight because my sister had passed. My sister's name was Tony. She passed when she was 19 and she had lupus and she basically passed overnight. And so the whole family was traumatized. And when you're traumatized, you go to usually your addictions or some type of crutch that you have to cope. And I know that that was helping me cope. And that's how I ended up adding on the pounds. And so now that I feel more at ease and more at peace and I understand her journey and why she has to go. She needed a new body, right? So lupus, she didn't have to live with that. So she chose that. And I'm okay with that. And so now my mental, emotional state is, I think, the real reason I shedded the weight, outside of the physical exercising and outside of the diet changes, which I really don't have many. I know for a fact that when you get your mental, emotional space together, your body will follow. One of my dreams was to always move to New York, and I luckily got that opportunity because my older sister was living in New York and she was already doing her music career after finishing college. So I immediately went to New York 30 days after graduating. It was amazing, packed up all my stuff, drove there, and then when I got there, it was an entirely different world. We lived in an amazing penthouse apartment in the city. We had valet, we had a doorman, a pool, a gym. We never had to leave the building, which was a good thing and a bad thing. But New York was really exciting, and that's kind of where I learned a lot about social media, because my sister, she wanted to be signed and she wanted an amazing career in music. So I was I think YouTube and I think social media is the one way we're gonna get there, because we have to show the A&Rs that you're already developed. And mind you, I'm 18 telling her what to do, but she trusted me. So I would style her, I would do her clothes, I would do her makeup at times, I would do behind the scenes for YouTube. I would strategize with her as to what are we gonna do for your YouTube channel. So now after that experience, not only have I had entertainment experience being in the studio, being with Grammy award winning producers and stuff like that with her and learning how to shoot content, it was great because she now has a big platform from being in New York. So that was definitely one of the things I learned from being in New York, is that anything's possible. Use your resources, use all the social media platforms that you have available to you, because you will expand and you will become more visible. When I was in New York, there was so many vending opportunities. Like everywhere you went, there was someone that had their table selling something. And at that time, like I was just working as like a manager and a stylist and doing social media. So I didn't really have like the vending experience. And I really commended the people that were on the street in Chinatown, doing little trunk shows, that were selling their goods right then and there. And so that really made me feel like I need a tangible product to sell. I think that would like catapult me to the next level. And that's when I started Style by Serena, which was selling hair extensions and beauty products. It was really amazing when I started it, because like I said, I had just left New York at that time, taking all this inspiration and energy with me into Florida when I came back. And I was like, I have to keep this momentum and I have to be the boss I was in New York. So maybe 2 weeks after being in Florida, I launched Style by Serena. It was amazing. Of course, I loved going to different vending opportunities where I can sell the hair in person and stuff like that. So I manifested that aspect of my reality, is having vending opportunities. And it was so awesome, because I tell you, the first night when I launched the website, I did it on Big Cartel, made my own website, made my own Instagram, sold $1,000 worth of hair in one night. Didn't even know the customers. That's when I knew, okay, I have something that's gonna change my life for the better. And it really inspired me to just keep pushing and do a lot in sales. And so I made over $50,000 my first year just selling hair at 19. So it definitely inspires me when I go to New York. I think a lot of the obstacles that entrepreneurs face, especially myself, comes from mental emotional hardships, because there's no playbook on how to really succeed. Like, we know in school you're supposed to get educated, get a good job, and then have a good boss tell you what to do so that you're on the straight and narrow in a company. But when you have your own business, you don't have that. You just have you, the world, and your clients' feedback. And the one thing I remember dealing with in my hair company, thank God it wasn't often, but people used to do a lot of fraud. When you have an online business, you have to protect yourself, because people will buy from you and then say that they didn't receive it, or say that the package never came. And I learned to cover myself really quickly when it came to business. So I would have all the signatures, all the things that I needed from DHL at the time, that was my carrier, to ensure that I was safe. So that was really a curveball, because at 18, when you just cash, or 19, when you cash $1,000 check because you just made a big sale, and then that same person says you owe them now because they didn't get it, you want to have all your ducks in a row. And that was probably the hardest thing I dealt with as a business owner. That was the one failure I had. But I ended up winning the case, so it was just more so a mental emotional failure of like, well, that means I always have to have a savings. I always have to have backup, because you never know what curveballs will come. So when it comes to meditation and mantras that help my business, the one thing I know for sure that helped me was saying the mantras that I usually say in my mind and putting them on paper. So I would say, like, I'm abundant, I'm wealthy, I'm a money magnet, I sell things easily, customers come easily and frequently towards me. And that really helped me with online sales, because you're basically in a sea of content and you're hoping that someone resonates. And I know for a fact, every time I meditated, I would have sales that same night. So that really let me know, like, your spirituality and your mindset is what's going to help you in business. It definitely helped me as well, because I wrote a monetary goal down when I started. So maybe a month into the hair company, I wrote down, I want to have 25K in sales on paper. And ironically, like 6 months after I wrote that down, I found that paper again in my guest room, and I was like, oh, this number sounds so little. And I like judged myself for little numbers, but I was like, oh my God, let's go count how much money we made, because this seems absurd that I even had such a low number written down. And I definitely surpassed that, and I doubled that by the end of the year. So I was like, okay, you have to set goals and you will surpass them. So aim high. But that's how I kind of like keep my mantras alive, is by writing them down as well. So MMM is Millennial Mogul Marketing. Of course, the marketing is what it is, but Millennial Mogul is something that I felt like was a great adjective for myself. Of course, being a millennial due to my age and my generation, but mogul is definitely a mantra for me, because I adore Oprah. I adore people who are like media moguls or entertainment moguls, real estate moguls. And I know that that was a word that wasn't oversaturated. Entrepreneurs oversaturated, businesswoman, businessman, hustler, all those things are oversaturated. So I knew mogul had such a high esteem and people weren't using it as much when I created my brand. So I thought I can become a mogul. That's probably a good mantra for the rest of my life, to say I'm a mogul and you are who you think other people think you are. So if I believed that that was the title I deserved, I knew that people would resonate because it's what I believed. So Millennial Mogul Mindset was stemmed from the book that's coming out called Millennial Mogul Mindset. So everyone who's watching this is getting like a sneak peek into what the book will be about, which is like my journey and the unfolding of becoming myself and what mindset it takes to get there. And so I wanted to share it more frequently than just a book, and that's why we have the podcast, so that people can adapt a new mindset and that they can internalize a new way of being, because that's the only way you're going to shift into your higher self or your best self or into your new goals. For Millennial Mogul Mindset, I want to help other entrepreneurs gain, influence and visibility by talking to me about their brand and what they're doing and what their goals are and how their mindset got them to a certain space, because I know that you don't know what you don't know. And so I love learning from my peers, and if I can give them a platform, that's definitely the intention of Millennial Mogul Mindset. With Millennial Mogul Marketing, it's basically all the things I do for myself that helps me become more visible and recognized, and people trust me and pay me for my services. I want my clients to have that same type of value where people just already know them. And there's a quote that says, work so hard that you don't have to introduce yourself. So I know if my clients put in the effort to be visible and to give content and value out, when we go places, I don't have to say, oh, this is who this is. You already know them. You already see how much value they're offering to the marketplace. And that's what I want to do with Millennial Mogul Marketing. My name is Serena Spence of Millennial Mogul Marketing, and I'm so thankful that you're here to watch the Millennial Mogul Mindset podcast. Make sure you follow me, Serena Spence, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on pretty much every social media platform. I will be there. And stay tuned for the next episode of Millennial Mogul Mindset podcast, and I'll see you guys there. Bye, moguls.